All right. This is another episode of 411 Sports Talk Radio, 4radionetwork.com. I am the bench warmer. Right next to me is Professor. What's happening, sir?
Yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I can barely hear you. You must have turned off something. Got you.
You got me?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this is week 3 of the NFL season. Had a couple of surprises. Well, actually, not necessarily surprises, but we had some record-breaking things. You know, Patrick Mahomes is on target to play lights out. Looks like Kansas City cannot be stopped. And you know, having said that, Seattle, if Seattle's defense gets better, they'll be a team to look at too. What are your thoughts of week 3?
Week 3, my top story continues to be the Buffalo Bills, who had a 28-3 lead on the Rams at home, only for the Rams to come back and tie I believe they caught up to 28-27 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh Allen, who continues to be a quarterback that is putting himself on the map. He's putting himself on notice in the NFL. He's sending a message to the NFL that he is the real deal. And if you saw the game between the Bills and the Cowboys last year, when Josh Allen came down to AT&T Stadium, that was my real first good look at him. And I said to myself, this is a pretty good dude here. I mean, he had a connection with Cole Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, and a couple other receivers on
there. He's certainly showing that that he's getting this league down.
On top of John Brown, on top of Cole Beasley, and now you're looking at
he froze.
80
Mm-hmm.
on the.
He's frozen. Yeah. Yeah. So my surprise game was we actually watched the Cincinnati Bengals and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is our first tie. Yeah, this is our first tie, which I don't understand how both teams just can't figure it out. That's kind of crazy to me. Both teams can't figure it out. But let's go through 3 teams that overcame deficits in the last 10 points to win with Chicago. They overcame a 16-point deficit. Pittsburgh overcomes an 11-point deficit, and the Tennessee Titans overcome a 12-point deficit. You have those 3 teams, and then if we can kind of keep going down a little bit further, the Russell Wilson, who has 14 touchdown passes this season, he passed Patrick Mahomes, who had 13 in 2018 for the most by a player through his team's first 3 games in the season. So Patrick Mahomes is on court. I mean, shoot, if he throws another 3 more games, that's 28 in 6 games. So wondering how far can he go to be able to throw as many times he's able to throw. Russell Wilson's really playing lights out. And the question about stopping him, and I don't know. You know, he gets a lot of those big long passes, and you know, had DJ Metcalf not had the ball pushed out of the end zone by Travion Diggs, that'd have been 15. So Wilson is really playing lights out. Some more headlines from the week 3 is you got a couple of FC unbeatens. They'll play in Nashville. You got Tennessee, who's 3-0, will host the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's 3-0. So Roethlisberger is going to show who he is. And then the Saints, who will go to Detroit, they'll meet the Lions on Sunday. They have won 12 consecutive games in the month of October. Last time they lost a game in the month of October was Week 7, 2016. That's some pretty good stuff there. What do you think? Is he frozen again?
Let me see.
Yep, he's back off again. Okay, so I'll keep it going.
Yeah, keep going. Don't stop.
Yeah, I'll keep it moving until we get him back on. So some more news, just updated news. There's an outbreak with Tennessee. Tennessee plans on playing a game after there's a COVID-19 outbreak. You had 3 players that caught the COVID-19, but they still plan to play, but they're closing their facilities Tennessee is closing their facilities until Saturday, but they plan on playing, which they'll play Pittsburgh. I think they had 3 players, and then Minnesota, because they played Tennessee, is going to kind of close their facilities for a second too, just for the testing. But the NFL still plans on playing, so we'll see how that works out. More news. We have in more news, we have the where is it? Okay, here we go. Broncos is going to start ripping at quarterback versus the Jets. That's the Thursday night game. And the Texans, you know how Earl Thomas has been going around. He's not playing in. The Texans do not plan on signing Earl Thomas. And you know how Cowboys' name keeps getting thrown up there. I don't think Cowboys is in the running for this. I don't think Cowboys are actually even looking at it. You know, we heard Jerry Jones say, mention him, but I don't think the Cowboys really looking at Earl Thomas to become the next safety. Keep on, he's still frozen.
Okay, keep going, babe.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think Earl Thomas is looking at being the next safety for the Cowboys. Which the Cowboys need more than just safety help back there. They need some cornerbacks back there too. So an interesting fact though is that NFL's longest October winning streak since 1970 was Denver Broncos with 14. Then you have the Miami Dolphins with 14. Then you have the Colts with 13. The Patriots and the Saints both have 12. And guess what? The Cowboys have 12 from 1992 to 1994. So they have a long winning streak also. And so then a couple of other interesting facts. Belichick will play Andy Reid. Let's see. So when New England Patriots meet Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium Sunday, 2 of the top winningest coaches, 2 of the top winningest coaches will have squared off. Okay. Yeah. 2 of the top winningest coaches will have squared off let's see. So Belichick has been coaching for 26 years. Andy Reid has been coaching for 22 years. So you got Don Shula, George Halas, and these are the winningest who've been coaching more years. Don Shula has 347 wins. George Halas has 324 wins. Belichick has 306 wins. Tom Landry has 270 wins. Curly Lambeau has 229 wins, and Andy Reid has 225 wins. So you got some history here, coaching history here, of these teams that are squaring off this Sunday. Belichick and Reid first actually met when Belichick coached the Patriots, and he defeated the Eagles. That's when Andy Reid was with the Eagles. So 2 coaches going head to head. You got George Halas and Curly Lambeau, who met 49 times. Belichick and Reid has met 10 times. Don Shula and George Halas has met 9 times. Don Shula and Tom Landry has met 8 times. George Halas and Tom Landry has met 3 times, and Don Shula and Belichick have met 2 times. So you've got some coaching history that's getting ready to happen between the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. And moving right along, we have a Beltway game on tap this weekend. So the Baltimore Ravens this week make a 45-mile track to FedEx Field for a Sunday matchup with the Washington football team. Let's see if we got them on. Let's see. Yeah, I got it. So we got that's almost like 45 miles, almost like Houston and Dallas. And we'll go over the games as we continue to move through this section of the NFL Roundup. In Stars news, the Stars lose to the Tampa Bay. They lose to Tampa Bay, and they're going home. They're coming out the bubble now. They 4-2, so they did not win the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay wins the Stanley Cup. So you have the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, are Stanley Cup champions, and the Stars. They had a good season. They had a crazy season because you start the season with a coach, then they fire one coach, and they bring in another coach, and they started off really bad, and they just somehow or another they put it together. So hats off to the Dallas Stars for making a huge run at the Stanley Cup. And if you keep nucleus together, I think they'll be there next year. So see, we got the professor back. One more college ranking that I wanted to get to real quick. We go the top AP. Texas is number 9 in the AP polls. They're 2-0. A&M is 1-0, number 13. Oklahoma State is 2-0 and at number 17, and Oklahoma is 17 at 1-1. Those are the only Texas teams that are in, or whatever's qualifying. So that's your kind of your news for today. Anything you want to add before we get to these games?
Hats off to the Dallas Stars. They came the closest to bringing some sort of a championship here, but they fell short to the Lightning, and you have to give it to them. They tried, and I didn't expect the Stars to even come close to sniffing the Stanley Cup up until now, not realizing how good they are as a hockey team. So we just have to hope for the best next year. And they went through a lot of adversity with the head coaching change and so forth. But my definite hats off to them. I'm very proud of them. I know we don't talk hockey as much as we should, but I'm glad you brought them up because they almost came away with a Stanley Cup and bringing a championship here for the first time since the Dallas Mavericks beat the Miami Heat in 6 games.
So you gotta applaud them. So let's get into this past weekend's games. We're at week 3. Let's talk about the Monday night game. Kansas City 34, Baltimore 20. Does it look like Patrick Mahomes can do no wrong?
I think Patrick Mahomes proved to the NFL that just because Baltimore is known defensively for their ability to stop offenses and to stifle them, they didn't really. Patrick Mahomes played the Ravens defense like it was just a normal defense. He had nothing to be scared of. As a matter of fact, he was playing with them last night, toying with them, playing around, underhand passes.
The underhanded pass to the fullback.
The dude was off the chain. He's good, man, and he's a Super Bowl MVP for a reason. Yeah,
to underhanded pass to the fullback. I mean, it was like, okay, well, let's throw it to him. It was almost like they were just trying whatever they want to try. Let's try this out. This is our preseason. Let's try a whole bunch of stuff. We may not never see it again the rest of the season, but they're trying stuff out, and it's just working. Whatever they do, whatever they're doing is working. So you have that. You have the Thursday night game. Well, no, let's go Houston and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beats Houston 28-21. Is Houston going to get a win? I think the loss of the receiver hurt them a whole bunch because Houston doesn't have any running game.
They're not looking good offensively ever since they lost DeAndre Hopkins, which I still don't understand what Coach O'Brien said about that. But he just worked the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not the answer. DeAndre Hopkins was the main player. They're struggling. And I know without Hopkins, I thought they would be a better team than what we're seeing. But the quarterback for the Texans, I just lost my train of thought. But he needs a number one wide receiver. That's how bad they look.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. Deshaun Watson needs some help offensively, and he's playing with a bunch of number 2s and 3s. So
they still hadn't fixed it. They still hadn't fixed the front line either. They have not fixed that front line.
No, he's getting hit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still getting hit a lot. They need protection. You're right.
Let's go to this overtime game. Philadelphia against Cincinnati. This is where you see just two sorry teams just really being sorry. I mean, because it was like you got a punt, interception, punt, and then Philadelphia finally kicks a field goal. And then Cincinnati, then you have another field goal, 3-6. Cincinnati finally scores a touchdown, so it's 10-6. Then you got 10-13, and that's the end of the half. Then you got 10-16. Philadelphia scores a field goal, 10-13, 10-16. Then you got a touchdown by Cincinnati, 17-16. This is just like this is like a boxing match that nobody really wanted to win, and then you got a touchdown it was a 2:44 left in the game. Philadelphia scores, and nobody could do anything else. You got to punt, in the fourth quarter, into the game. I mean, are we seeing how bad Philadelphia really is? Okay, so I guess we are seeing how bad Philadelphia really is because all they were doing is just punting. It's almost like they wasn't even into it. And Cincinnati is not that great anyway. So it's showing us how bad Cincinnati, how bad this. It's going to show us how bad the division is. The Giants. I want to throw the Cowboys in there? Let's wait and see on that. But the Giants, Philadelphia, Washington, we're going to see how bad this division really is. So, the losses, the Cowboys can win this division on default. Okay, next game we're going to. He's frozen again. Next game I want to go to is San Francisco again. We're back in the NFC East. San Francisco 36, the Giants 9. I knew that wasn't going to be close at all. There's not a lot of upsets that we've had through this week 3. You got New England 36, Oakland 20. That was kind of we kind of saw that. And we've got Minnesota 30, Tennessee 31. which I expected Minnesota to really get off the snide and win that game. But somehow or another, they're not the same. They're not the same Minnesota Vikings that we're used to seeing. Their defense just giving up a lot. Speaking of scoring 30, there's only 3 teams now get. Well, let me keep going. Cleveland 34, Washington 20. Which, what does Washington have for us? We mentioned earlier Buffalo 35. The Rams, the LA Rams, was a 35-32. And as Professor said, this game was, Buffalo was up first. Then the Rams come back. And then Josh Rosen came back and brought Buffalo Bills back. And Buffalo is 3-0, which is a surprise. So Buffalo is really getting there. Atlanta 26, Chicago 30. Atlanta is probably the only team that has scored more than 25 points all 3 games and has lost all 3 games. And then you lose to Chicago, who substitute Mitch Trubisky for Nick Foles. And the story coming out of Chicago is Nick Foles is going to start the next game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to Nick Foles being the starter and not Mitch Trubisky. You have the Los Angeles Chargers. That's interesting to say that, versus the Carolina Panthers. And Carolina without Ed McCaffrey goes in and beats the Chargers at LA. So it's going to show, number one, we know the Chargers don't have a defense because they can't beat the Carolina Panthers without Ed McCaffrey. So we're going to see how they're going to look throughout the rest of the year, which may not look as good as you want them to look. The Indianapolis Colts 36, New York Jets 7. Indianapolis is actually becoming a better team than I expected them to be. They are putting together some wins, some impressive wins. Indianapolis is 2-0. 2-1, I'm sorry. So they're putting together some impressive wins. Then we have the Denver Broncos. We have Tampa Bay 28, Denver 10. Tampa Bay with Tom Brady he's putting together some. Tampa Bay is putting together some decent wins, especially with against Denver. But they've got a tough schedule coming ahead. You got Detroit 26, Arizona 23. I expected Arizona to win this game. I mean, I didn't think that Detroit would pull this one off. I expected Arizona to win, so that was a surprise for me. What about you on this game? This Detroit and Arizona game.
I'm not really surprised at all about that particular football game. But I do know that the receiver that caught those 2 touchdowns from Kyler Murray, and I'm trying to think what his name is. But I'm not really surprised about the outcome of that game. And as far as the Cardinals are concerned, we just talked about DeAndre Hopkins, who has been getting volume of passes thrown to him ever since from game 1. And with that being said, I expect the Cardinals to be a not only a team that's in the running for the playoffs, but for years to come. And I know a lot of people are now talking about Kyler Murray like they do Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. But Kyler Murray, to me, along with DeAndre Hopkins, along with Kenyon Drake, and then, of course, you still have future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, but he's not. He may be catching 3 or 4 passes a game, but he's still in the thick of things in that offense, along with Christian Kirk. I would expect Arizona to. And the season is early, too. I mean, let's not forget that we're just going to week 3. We're not even 1/4 into the season yet. So, and we talked about this last week, having a preseason game. So I would give teams 4 games at least to get the feel of of how they get to perform on the field. But remember, those 4 games are actually real live
Yeah,
games.
these count.
So whoever's off to the hot start now, like Buffalo, they may benefit from the 3-0 start late on in the season because the record would support the fact that because they start off so fast, like Kansas City, like Buffalo, those teams are to be reckoned with. But Arizona, just keep them on your radar.
Yeah,
I think they got a good team. And as far as Detroit, I mean, I don't know. It's the same old Lions team. It's nothing just seems to have changed with that team at all. I mean, I know Matt Patricia is their head coach. That's a new blood, but they still performing the same way as they had before the Patricia hire. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's almost like you just changed the coach, but the team's still there. And it's funny that Detroit had one of the best pass catching receivers, which is in Megatron, and then one of the best running backs in Barry Sanders, and both of those players retired at the top of their career, at the height of their career, because they didn't want to go no more. Detroit is not putting anybody around some of their great players, and that's going to be that's going to always be their downfall. Keeping it moving, you had Green Bay 37, New Orleans 30. New Orleans is falling into a slump now. They're 1-2 now. And like you said, the first 4 games, I'm like, if you can get out of these first 4 games, at least 2-2, then you start the season. So New Orleans necessarily not out of it, but you lose. That New Orleans are losing to good teams. And that's what's gonna hurt them, because they're losing to some good teams. Green Bay is a good team. Who else they lose to? They lost to who else? They lost to who did they lose to last week? Because they on a 2-0 losing streak. I forget who they lost to last week. But anyway, they're losing to.
You're referencing to the Saints?
Yeah, who they lose to last week?
They lost to. Give me just a second. You talking about last week or week 1?
Was it week 1?
They lost to Las Vegas last week.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, you lose to Las Vegas, and you come back and lose to Green Bay. So you got 2 losses in a row.
Now their remaining schedule is their next 4 games is at Detroit, at home against the Chargers, at home against the Panthers, and at Chicago. And those are winnable games. Right.
So they should be able to pick it up. So it shouldn't be we shouldn't be alarmed, but the fact that they lost to some good teams is alarming. For me, it is. Because you've got Alvin Kamara, you got Michael Thomas, you got Drew Brees, you've got some good offensive weapons. Their defense is not necessarily gelled yet. This is why, and I'll go back to this. This is why you at least need 2 preseason games. At least 2. Coming into the season with no preseason game at all, just jumping right in, you're gonna at least need 2 preseason games, in my opinion. At least 2.
Well, I mean, with Green Bay, that's another 3-0 team. They game 1. They were at Minnesota, and they won that game 43-34. And then they came home and beat Detroit by 3 touchdowns. And then you went to New Orleans and you beat them by a touchdown. And their next 4 games at home against the Falcons, at Brady and the Bucks, at Watson and the Texans, and at home against the Vikings. So their role is not as easy as the Saints.
But they do have some winnable games on that schedule, though. Yeah, Houston's the winnable game.
Houston is tricky to me. Houston is tricky to me because they still have Deshaun Watson, and I know they don't have the receivers that that he should have to support the offensive line. Is still shaking. But anytime you have Deshaun Watson back there, I mean, anything goes with him. And then Brady's on the Bucks now. Brady's starting to get the train rolling in Tampa Bay. That's not always a winnable game. And then you're at home against Minnesota. Kirk Cousins and company is falling apart.
Yeah. So you got at least
Now,
2 winnable games on there.
Now, the Vikings won this past Sunday. That was good to see them. But when they played the Colts, the Kirk Cousins threw 3 picks in that game. It was only 11-13 for $130.
No, the Vikings lost.
Game.
The Vikings lost this past Sunday.
Yeah,
they lost to Tennessee 31-30. Yeah, they lost.
Oh, that's right. Tennessee came back and beat them 31-30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Minnesota's just not a good football team. And, I mean, we'll just have to see. But I don't think the next 4 games for the Packers is as easy as it is for the Saints.
Right.
And like I said, the Bucks, that's a team that I think is going to be at the top of the NFC, at least the top 4 teams when the season before the playoffs come. So that's not always an easy game. We got Brady and Bruce Arians on the sideline. So I mean, we'll just have to see.
Yeah. And then the Sunday is it noon? No, the Sunday 3:00 game. The Cowboys lose to the Seattle Seahawks 31-38 in a game where this is the second game where you have a fluke touchdown pass that should have been a touchdown because you get the Falcons that pass that was thrown to Julio Jones, that was in his hand. That should have been a touchdown. He just dropped it. The pass to again in this game right here, the pass to DK McCaffrey. What is that?
DK
yeah,
Metcalf.
he should have caught that. Well, he caught it. DK Metcalf. He caught it, but a smart heads up play by Tyler Diggs. A very smart heads up play. Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, very smart heads up play by Trayvon Diggs to where he just knocked it out at Metcalf's hands. So it could have been worse than what it really was. You know, this is one of those games where, again, Cowboys offense was really, really struggling. They was giving up. They've given up so many interceptions, fumbles. You know, again, we're watching the offensive line being shuffled. I mean, nobody's like Connor Williams is the only offensive lineman that kept his position throughout the whole game. Everybody else was shuffled throughout the whole game. You know, I don't know. My question is that good coaching, or is that Cowboys are just they wasn't ready? I don't know. You know, you shuffle your line so many times, and for Dak Prescott to not be sacked as many times he should have been sacked, is that could be a testament to coaching? Would you say?
I think the issue we have is pretty evident, and it's our defense. We've given up. I was looking at this the other day. We gave up 38 points to the Seahawks, and then we turned around and gave up 39 points to the Falcons. And then we gave up a mere 20 points to the Rams. But if you look at that, that's 31 points. That's 39 points. And then that's 20 points. That's 90 points in 3 games.
You want to take it back? It's 38 points, and then 39 points.
38 points for Seattle, 39 points for the Falcons. That's 72 points. And then you got the 20 points from LA. I mean, you're talking about giving up over 30 points a game so far. And I don't care how good your offense is, if your defense can't come and step up the way they should, you're going to have these high-scoring games that I don't think the Cowboys are built to even outscore opponents in that fashion, in that way. I think our number one problem basically is Mike Nolan. And I've talked about this on the radio show before, months ago when we first found out about his hire. And I'm like, Mike Nolan. I mean, you look at his resume, he's been around. He's been around and back. As a head coach, he has a losing record. As a coordinator, he's at best average. when I noticed that hire, I just shook my head like this. I'm not sure about this guy, but Mike McCarthy as an overall head coach, um, I think he's coaching well. There are some coaching calls that we may question, but I talked about that last week because I liked them because we're not used to seeing let's go for it on fourth down. He's being aggressive. He's not being conservative like we knew about Garrett. Dak Prescott's playing well. Zeke is playing the way he should, even though he only gained 34 yards rushing on the ground against that defense of Seattle. Amari Cooper looks good. Michael Gallup looks good.
The receivers look good.
And CeeDee Lamb, I mean, if we don't keep Gallup here, CeeDee Lamb is going to be you can tell he's a number one receiver just by the way he plays. He runs routes very good. He don't have that much weight on him. But he's a rookie. He'll buff up as he gets older. But you can tell we got a really good wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. I mean, the dude is very, very smooth. Our offense to me is fine, but our weakest link is starting to be the offensive line now. And I've said for the last couple of years, the Cowboys need to find ways to draft someone solid behind Tyron Smith. We're going to the season. He's already missed 2 games. He's injury prone. He's barely 28, 29 years old. He's not even 30 yet. And we're having to deal with this year in, year out. He's never on the field for 14 to 16 games. And so with that being said, he's out. We lost Travis Frederick to retirement. Zach Martin is on this team. La'el Collins is injured. Right. So our offensive line is not the strongest point right now, and that's also an issue with this team. So your offensive line is just as good as your offense can go. However, your offensive line is the way the offense goes. You have Zeke Elliott, you have Dak Prescott. You probably got the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL right now, but your offensive line is average, and because of that, you might not see the team that you're expecting to see.
Well, see that, and then turnovers too. I mean, they've turned the ball over more times in a short period of time than they've done almost last year. You know, I mean, we've seen turnover after turnover, and they turn them over early. You know, so it puts them in a position where they got to come back in the third and fourth quarter. You know, in the third quarter, they were down 15-30. They've been down by double digits 2 times this year. You know, and you can't consistently win a game when you're always coming back, and not against a Seattle team. You know, not against these good teams that are made to play. So they've got to stop the turnovers on one end, but the other end, you're right, is the defense has got to make stops. When the Cow and granted, the Cowboys offense sometimes put the defense in a bad position. You know, they've scored teams have scored 31 points off the Cowboys turnovers. 31. The Cowboys has only scored 6 points off of turnovers. You know, so the offense is putting the defense in bad positions to where the defense got to make, 26-yard stops. You know, so that's not necessarily good either. And I agree. We don't have three linebackers back there. We don't. Notice you'll see Joe Thomas back there, or you see Jaden Smith, but that's it. So you don't have. So now what you're doing is you're leaving it up to the front line to make all the plays, and because you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, that means that the DBs, they got to hold their man a lot longer than what they should have had to hold their man. You know, so you're not getting you're so, and a lot of times we saw a lot of pressure sacks. They did get a couple of sacks on Russell Wilson last week. You know, and Aldon Smith. There's not a lot you can't say about Aldon Smith. He's out of the league for 5 years, and he comes back and he becomes a terror. He's got like 3 sacks now already, 3 or 4 sacks this year already. So there's not. Aldon Smith is really playing good. And that he's a good pickup for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think he leads the NFL in sacks right now. And last it, before the season, he was 26, 27 when he last played in the league. He's 31 years old now. And when you've been out of the league that long, your tire still should be fresh. He might be 31, but his legs are churning like a train right now, as like a 26 or 25-year-old. And there may be talk of a contract extension for this dude, but clearly, as long as he stay out of trouble, as long as we don't hear these stories about the assaults and all that good stuff, his history, if you look it up, it's pretty extensive. But as long as he stay out of trouble, the dude's a good football player. And the Cowboys gamble, as they have. They're historically known to gamble on players that can't stay on the field due to off the field issues, and I think they won this gamble here. And there's something about Aldon Smith, unlike others that the Cowboys have tried. There's something about him. He looks more humble. He's just out there saying, "I just need to take care of my business." And like Cam Newton, I'm playing this game because I want to get my respect back, and he's doing that right now. So I mean, every time you hear the commentators talk about him, they're all about his play. A dude ain't been on the field in 5 years and come on the field after all this time and still picked up right where he left off. And that's impressive. So that's your pass rush. DeMarcus Lawrence, you don't even hear his name no more. You just don't hear his name no more.
He's missing action. Aldon Smith has 4 sacks right now, ahead of TJ Watt, who has 3.5, and Chris Jones has 3.5.
Right. I think he leads the NFL. Yes.
He does lead the NFL in sacks. So
that's impressive.
So you have pieces there. I mean, they can put it together. They can definitely put this thing together. It's just going to take some time. And maybe the Cleveland game gives them that time where, okay, we're gonna see what the thing looks like. Because I don't, they've played some. Atlanta has a high-octane offense. We've seen the Rams have bursted into a high-octane offense, and Seattle has a high-octane offense. I don't see where Cleveland's offense matches those 3 offenses. What do you think?
In terms of Cleveland's offense,
yeah.
I agree with you there. I agree, and that's an offense that has so much talent.
Yeah,
a lot of talent,
but they have not put it together yet.
Especially at the running back position, you have Nick Chubb, and you have Kareem Hunt, who's a beast with the Chiefs. I mean, I don't know, and that's our next opponent. As a matter of fact, our next 3 games are at home. The Browns, the Giants, and the Cardinals, I believe, are our next 3 opponents. Next Sunday at noon against the Browns, that should be a W. The Browns and the Giants should be W's at least. So if we have a tough time against the Browns, it's to stop their run game, because their run game is solid.
Their run game is good, yeah. Yeah, but the Cowboys have not had a problem with the run game, except the only thing is that they haven't had real running backs back there. They haven't played a Nick Chubb type runner. Let's go through the Browns put up 6 points against Baltimore. They put up 30 points. They put up 35 points against Cincinnati, and then 34 points against Washington. But Washington and Cincinnati are not necessarily juggernauts as far as, teams. So it shouldn't be hard. We'll pick that game a little bit later. But going back to the Seattle-Dallas game, I thought that, I picked Seattle to win, but I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be as close as it got. I felt that Seattle was going to establish themselves early and often, and only time I noticed something. The only time Seattle really made some moves is when they went deep. When they didn't go deep, then Dallas their defense was in play. Dallas defense was in play when Seattle did not go deep. But once they went deep, it was over. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, it was really over once they went deep. And the running game really didn't do anything for me as far as Seattle is concerned.
Right. You waiting on me to speak? I was letting you
No,
finish.
I'm finished. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, in terms of Seattle, I don't know. I just feel like that they handle their business basically. And one person we haven't even talked about on the show is Russell Wilson, who adamantly told the world that he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I can't argue that right now. I hate to say it, but I can't argue that right now. He's playing like it.
The problem is no MVPs. How come he doesn't have an MVP?
I saw that stat.
He should have had an MVP up to this point. Should have.
Especially in his Super Bowl years, at least.
He should have had an MVP, but he don't have any MVPs. He is playing great. I said it earlier today. He has 14 touchdown passes already. 3 games into the season, you already got 14 touchdown passes. If you play like this right here, every three games, he'll have 28 touchdown passes before the half of the season is over with.
And had 5 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, he'll have 28 before the end of the half. Before the half season, 6 games in, he'll have 28. He can hit 50 this year if he continues to play like this. He can hit 50 touchdowns this year if he continues to play like this. That's just amazing.
And speaking of his receivers, I think one of the reasons why he has increased it a notch is he has better receivers now.
Exactly.
He has DK Metcalf, who's turning out to be a beast. You still have Tyler Lockett, who nobody talks about, but he's the number 1 receiver on that team. You picked up a veteran, Greg Olsen, on top of that. And then you do have Chris Carson back, who is a solid running back. But Russell Wilson has picked it up a notch and he bolts. I mean, it's not a reason why he shouldn't.
Yeah. And your next 3 games is with the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Cardinals. That's Seattle's next 3 games. The Dolphins.
This is Seattle?
Dolphins, Vikings, and the Cardinals.
Oh.
They could truly go. Wow. They could probably go 6-0 for these first 6 games. They could be 6-0 easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is going to create a problem.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, they're putting 7 teams in the playoffs this year, which allows some. Which will allow some.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, which will allow some of these on the cuff teams to get in. But this is probably what will help Arizona get in if they are to get in. So at the bye week, you have the Dolphins. They play next Sunday. They have Minnesota. Then they have a bye week, and then they play Arizona after their bye week. Their first tough game is going to be against San Francisco. They got San Francisco, Buffalo after that, and the Rams after that. Which Rams always play Seattle tough anyway. But I don't see Seattle slipping unless they have major injuries. I don't see them slipping. I see Seattle as being one of the teams in the conference, the cream of the crop. I think you're going to have Seattle. You'll have Green Bay as one of those top teams. I'm not necessarily sold on Chicago yet. Yeah. I'm not sold on Chicago because now they put in Nick Foles over Mr. Trubisky. So I'm not necessarily sold on them yet. But the 2 teams, and I'm not necessarily sold on New Orleans either.
You're not sold on the Saints? Wow.
No, because you lose to Oakland when you should have beaten Oakland. You know, the Saints should have been 3-0 right now. They should be 3-0. And right now they're 1-2. Or yeah, they should.
I don't know. When you have Sean Payton, when you had that turn of Payton and Breeze back there, I just don't. It's hard for me to put past anything by them. As long as Breeze and Payton are together as a tandem on that particular organization, I don't ever count them out. It's just something. It's just something about those two. They have been together for going on 10 years now. I mean, even going back to the Hurricane Katrina year where they won a Super Bowl. I mean, and I know they don't have Michael Thomas. I know that, and they may struggle without him for the next couple of weeks. But I never doubt a offensive genius with a Hall of Fame quarterback. I just don't. I mean, they might be down, but I don't think they will ever be out, ever.
I don't think they'll be.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think they're going to be out. I just don't. As far as some of the top teams in the NFC, you know, just the top teams in the NFC, I guess they would rank at number 3, the third team, because San Francisco doesn't have Garoppolo. Everybody else is just kind of middle of the pack, right? Everybody just clumped in the middle of the pack. I see your two top is Green Bay and Seattle, and everybody else is just in the middle of the pack or at the bottom.
It's too early in the season to say that, and don't forget Brady and Tampa Bay. I mean, it's gonna be a time to where you're gonna start seeing that train rolling. In the first couple of games with Brady and the Bucs, you saw where they was trying to figure each other out. They were trying to get a feel of each other. But as the season progresses, when you have a 6-time Super Bowl winning quarterback on that team, he's going to get it together.
With the talent they got.
And I saw that just this past Sunday. When I looked at the game, they looked a lot more at peace. Things were starting to gel together. And as we have all heard, I don't think Rob Gronkowski may not be an integral part of the offense, even though he is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said, even back when he was coaching Carson Palmer and the Cardinals, Bruce Arians is just as an offensive genius as Sean Payton. He just needs the right players on his team to execute his offense. And now he has Brady, who he have always been friends with, kept an eye on. And he had no issues bringing Brady here when New England decided to not bring Brady back. Arians was one of the first guys you saw out there trying to bring Brady to the Bucs organization. I know Brady's 41 or 42, going on 43 now. But as long as this man is playing in the NFL with his receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I mean, he has better receivers.
Got some good receivers, than he's ever had
with the Bucs than he had at New England.
Mm-hmm.
He has Leonard Fournette now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, let's just not. I'm just saying, don't forget about the Bucs because they are starting. You got Leonard Fournette back there now. We know how that man plays the running back position.
Right.
We always have known that the Bucs have always had issues at the running back position. For the last 5 years, they've always been a team that had average running backs. But now you got Leonard Fournette back there. You added Tom Brady and Ron Gronkowski with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I'm just saying, don't discount them out. That's what I'm saying. We're not even a fourth through the season yet, and I don't want to say, well, everybody else is in the middle of the pack. I mean, you both know, you know as well as anyone else on the face of this earth, that there's going to be a team when they start a winning streak, they're going to be hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be hard to stop, and I have a feeling one of those teams is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It could be Tampa Bay. It could be. What about Atlanta?
No.
Atlanta can't put it together at all.
No. When you start the season 0-3 the way they have, and you can't keep leads the way they have, and I'm talking about not many leads, huge leads.
Yeah.
You just killed the psyche of the team. Now you have the psyche of the team saying we got a lead
can't
going
win
into the
nothing.
fourth quarter. You know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
That's a confidence record when you can't maintain the lead like that. And their head coach may be on the hot seat now. Even though I don't hear no one talking about it, but he may be on the hot seat. But no, not the Falcons. The Falcons, no. I can't. They're not. To me, they're not going to be a playoff team. I know it's early, like I just said, but you can tell the life of an organization.
It's
And
getting sucked out of them.
It's just you're sucking right out of them already.
Mhm.
So I'm not counting the Falcons in that middle of the pack team. No, I'm not.
Let's do this right here. Let's go ahead and move into our pick segment. But let me go ahead and give out the winners and losers of this week.
Yeah, I think I did horrible this week.
We did too. We all did horrible. We all did terrible. Okay, so the winners and losers of this week's pick segment. Let's go here. Hold on. Bear with me for a second. Go back one more. All right, so the standings are as follows. Security, Shelly is still up. 37 wins, 11 losses. You have Uncle Aaron with 34 wins, 14 losses. Philly with 33 wins, 15 losses. You have 33 wins, 15 losses. I'm one behind you, 32 wins, 16 losses. My sister is 32 wins, 16 losses. My dad is 32 wins, 16 losses. Brother-in-law, 31 wins, 17 losses. Okay, I can see it better now. Let's see. Kevin is 31 wins, 17 losses. Jay is 30 wins, 18 losses. Alex, remember Alex was killing us last year? Not anymore. 30 wins, 18 losses. Let's see. Dr. Rock is 30 wins, 18 losses. Noah, which nephew, is 27 wins, 21 losses. Razor Rome, which is Jerome, 27 wins, 21 losses. Keith is coming up there with 22 wins, 10 losses, and then Tamika is 16 wins, 32 losses. That is your schedule this week. Philly wins. Philly wins with 12 wins, 4 losses. Let's see. You have. I'm just gonna go with me. Shelly had 9 wins, 7 losses. Golly, we got to go way down to get to us. You had 8 wins, 8 losses. I had 7 wins, 9 losses. Terrible week. But that's why it's 16, 17 weeks in the season, right?
That is correct. Long season.
Yeah, long season. So let us get to the picks of today. The first pick, we're going to go to the Thursday night game. The 0-3 Denver Broncos versus the 0-3 New York Jets. You like this right here?
Oh my God. I hate picking games like this. Winless teams going at it.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what you're gonna get. You never know what you're gonna get. It's at the Jets. The Jets just played. Who'd they play? Hold on. The Jets just played Denver. I'm sorry. The Jets played Indianapolis Colts and got blowed 36-7. And the Broncos played Tampa Bay and got beat 28-10. This makes it even worse. And the Jets are actually starting a new quarterback. I'm sorry, Denver is starting a new quarterback. Ryan is going to start this year. Brett Rippon He completed 8 of 9 passes in his debut last week. I'm going to tentatively go the Jets because they're at home. I'm going to Jets.
That's my pick as well. And they are really playing bad right now. That's what makes it so hard to pick this game. But if Sam Darnold is their quarterback, yeah, I'm going with the Jets. It's going to be a tight game, maybe low scoring, 17-10ish game, but I'm going with the Jets.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely a low scoring game. Okay, the next game on the schedule is the Ravens 2-1 versus the Washington Redskins 1-2.
They're not the Redskins. They're the football team.
I'm sorry, Washington football team. That's why they're gonna lose anyway. I'm going Baltimore. I think
yeah, I'm going Baltimore.
Yeah, the way Baltimore played Cleveland, not Cleveland, but the Chiefs, they played them pretty hard and pretty tough. And I don't see anything that Washington's giving me to say they'll win this game.
I think the Ravens defense is going to tear into the quarterback for the Redskins, for the Washington football team.
Dwayne Haskins?
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins. They're going to lit into him.
Yeah.
Haskins threw a game-changing interception against the Browns on Sunday. And it sealed the deal when he did that. So I just imagine with the Ravens defense, who've already was embarrassed by Mahomes and the Chiefs, so they're going to come out mad.
They're not going to do that again, yeah.
It's going to be at Washington and D.C., but I'm going with the Ravens.
It don't matter. Home field advantage is not necessarily home field advantage anymore with no fans.
Right.
Next game, the Pittsburgh Steelers 3-0 versus the Tennessee Titans 3-0. This is going to be a good game. Now, mind you, we said earlier that Tennessee has shut down their facilities until Saturday. So, which means that they're not really necessarily doing a lot of practicing because of this, they've got 3 players that had COVID. And so they shut down facilities till Saturday. Maybe they're practicing somewhere else. We don't know, but it's not going to be a regular environment. Having said that, I'm going Pittsburgh.
I am picking Tennessee to win this game at home, even though they came up with these positive COVID tests. I believe a total of 8 of them, including the training staff. I think it's 5 of the staff members and 3 players.
3 players, yeah.
I think Tennessee is still going to pull this out at home against Pittsburgh. I'm going Tennessee.
I'm going Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger is still Roethlisberger. He still got weapons that he can use. James Conner, so I'm thinking that Pittsburgh will pull this out and go to 4-0, and Tennessee will have lost their first game of the season.
Okay.
All right. So the next game we have on schedule, the LA Chargers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, mind you, the Chargers lost to who'd they lose? They lost to Carolina without Ed McCaffrey.
Not Ed McCaffrey. Not Ed. Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. I'm sorry, not the father, the son. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. So they lose to the Carolina Panthers with no running game. So you bring in Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, Tom Brady, Fournette, which we mentioned before, and those receivers. I don't see how San Diego gets out of this with a win. I see Tampa Bay beating San Diego, and I don't think it's going to be anything nice either. This will probably be the game that everybody crowns Tom Brady king of the South, and they're gonna have his name already tagged into Super Bowl.
I think the change at quarterback for the Chargers, going from Tyrod Taylor to Justin Herbert, they're more of a passing offense. If you saw that game, I mean, Herbert threw 49 times in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan Allen had a total of 19 targets in that game and caught 13 balls for $130 in that game. The loss of Christian McCaffrey obviously hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I know Austin Eckler is good, but he's a good reserve running back. I don't think he's ever been a starter worthy back. He's more of a utility back behind McCaffrey. But then you got Brady and the Bucks, and they're at home. So I'm going to Tampa Bay. They'll go 3-1.
And you know what? Not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that Melvin Gordon is not in San Diego is a problem for San Diego. You lose Melvin Gordon, LA? And you lose again LA. Yeah, you lose Melvin Gordon and you lose Phillip Rivers. I think that's a problem. No one's really bringing that up, but I think that's a huge problem for San Diego. I mean, for LA. Golly, why I keep saying San Diego.
That's the LA Chargers, but yeah, I meant to say Melvin Gordon. I want to know one thing about McCaffrey. But when the Chargers lost Gordon, who to me, he was fighting for carries with Austin Eckler last year. And now that he's gone, everyone expected Austin Eckler to be the main running back, but he's not proven to be that type of running back as Gordon was by the team that drafted him.
Right.
And so they're hurting at the running back position with Eckler back there. So that's causing Herbert to throw the ball a lot more, and they're a passing team more than anything. So with that being said, I think it'll be a close game, maybe a high-scoring game, but I think Brady and the Bucks will pull it out.
Yeah, I'm going Tampa Bay myself. Next game on the schedule is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Miami Dolphins. The 3-0 Seattle Seahawks, the 1-2 Miami Dolphins. And it's in Miami. I'll let you start.
I'll say written all over this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting to turn the heat up. He's believe it or not, I had a tough time picking this game as hot as red hot as the Seahawks is. The fact that they're going against Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's known to work his magic at the most inopportune time. It's in Miami. I believe Miami. Did they win their last game?
Yeah, they beat Jacksonville 31-13.
Man, it's a tough one. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a tough one. And Seattle's defense is not that good.
It's not. Let me see if I can help you out. They beat Miami. Now Miami beat Jacksonville 31-13, and they lost to the New England Patriots 11-21, and they also lost to Buffalo 28-31. So their defense, New England, Miami's defense is not, shutting people down. They're not, that good, but they're decent though.
I'm gonna choose Seattle, but it's gonna be close. I just see upset alert written. I'm gonna go for Seattle.
Yeah, it wasn't close to me. I was thinking Seattle all the way along.
Okay.
Next game. Here's one you don't like. The 0-3 Vikings versus the 0-3 Texans. Who's gonna
I'm
show up
going
in this
Texans
game?
all the way on this. It'll be Houston. I don't see the Vikings going to Houston beating the Texans. I just don't. This actually was an easier game to pick than the one we just talked about.
I don't know. For me, this is gonna be hard.
Deshaun Watson is not going to go 0-4 to start the season. I just don't see him allowing his team to do that. I just don't see it. It'll be Houston all the way for me.
Let's see something here. David Johnson had rushing TD last week, and he has a rushing TD in 2 of the past 3 games. 350 yards from scrimmage yards. 352 scrimmage yards.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Devin Cook over there. He had 199 scrimmage yards. Dalvin Cook, yeah, he had 199 scrimmage yards. 181 rushing, 18 receiving. And you still got Adam Thielen over there. See, now I've been picking Minnesota because I'm thinking their defense is showing up. Their defense ain't showing jack. But then against Houston, though, Deshaun Watson has been sacked all over the place. He has a passer rating of 110, which is good. I'm gonna go. Golly, I hate doing this too. See, this is a toss-up for me.
Okay.
This is a toss-up for me. I think I'm gonna go Houston because I don't like how Minnesota lost the Indianapolis game. Yeah, the way they lost that, they should have beat Indianapolis. All right, next game on the schedule. The 1-2 Saints versus the 1-2 Lions. This will probably be easy for me. I'm going to Saints on this one. Because
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't. Because now, if New Orleans loses this game, if they lose against Detroit, then we might have to rethink that Detroit. I mean, we might have to rethink New Orleans being one of the top NFC East teams. What do you think?
If they look well, I hate to say that when their top wide receiver is injured.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if Michael Thomas was in the lineup and they're still struggling, that's a big difference to me. But when you have lost your top player, one of your top players on offense, going 1-3 may not be a surprise for me because you don't have Drew Brees' favorite target on your team. Now, if we was there full time and we're talking 1-3, then we need to start talking about that. But if they go 1-3 without Michael Thomas, that wouldn't surprise me. Michael Thomas is an integral part of that offense.
Is he out for the couple of games?
He's doubtful for the next game because there's been media reports that he's pushing to come back in the lineup. But when you have a high ankle sprain, them jokers are not easy to come back from. You may end up re-injuring the ankle.
Yeah, that's
so
like
it's safe. It's safe to just sit down, let it rest as long as you can until you think you're really able to run routes and run those deep cuts on the injured ankle like that. So, I just going 1-3 without Michael Thomas won't surprise me a bit. But I can't say they're not a top team, and you don't have your best wide receiver on offense. Now they may not be a top team because Michael Thomas may be out for an extensive period of time. But again, you got Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So,
but it does put him in a hole, though.
Mm-hmm.
It does put him in a hole because remember these games count.
Right.
So what you got? The Saints?
Yes, I have the Saints. Yes.
Okay. Jacksonville 1-2 versus the Bengals 0-2-1. Bengals can't get out their way. Even though I like Joe Burrow, Bengals just cannot get out their way. And matter of fact, they were up on games and still just couldn't close the door. Jacksonville. I'm trying to see who did Jacksonville beat?
They played the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, they lost. No, they lost to the Dolphins. Yeah, they played the Dolphins. They lost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who they went to.
Oh,
all right. They beat Indianapolis.
Okay.
They beat Indianapolis 27-20. They lost to Tennessee 30-33, and they lost to Miami 13-31. So they're putting some stuff together. I'm gonna take Jacksonville in this game right here. It looks like they're putting Jacksonville's putting some stuff together. Just take some time. I don't know what the heck Cincinnati is doing.
Well, I mean, you got a rookie quarterback back there, and I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has a lot of upside to him, but him and Joe Mixon and AJ Green, he don't look like the receiver he used to be. Yeah, they're struggling a bit. I mean, they got a rookie quarterback who is finding his way through the game. Gardner Minshew struggled against the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. He struggled. So it's Minshew versus Burrow. I believe I chose who did I choose for this game? I already got my picks submitted in, by the way. I chose Cincinnati.
Okay.
For the win.
Okay. Now remember, you reserve the right until 12 o'clock or until 12 o'clock Sunday. Make your changes.
Now, normally when I submit my changes, it stays the way it is because I'm confident in those picks. But Cincinnati, I think, will get their first home win against the Jaguars.
All right. Next game. Here's a good one. The 2-1 Colts versus the 3-0 Bears. How sold are you on Chicago?
Now that Nick Foles is back there and you're 3-0.
Very sold, huh?
I'm very sold now because you made the right change at the right time. This is why the Bears signed Nick Foles. I don't think the Bears had any confidence in Trubisky for the last couple of years now. They saw Nick Foles on the market and went in and signed him. I mean, you're not going to bring Nick Foles to be a backup to Trubisky for the whole season. I mean, I saw that writing on the wall. As soon as Trubisky struggled the first time, he was going to get benched. They gave him opportunities, even through his struggles, they gave him an opportunity to work himself out. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. But you have a quarterback that's experienced, and you saw what happened in Atlanta. As soon as you put him in, 3 touchdown passes, and he brought his team back. Nick Foles will be the starter the rest of the year, and I'm going to call that.
I agree with that. But now, granted, though, you playing Atlanta, who's used to giving up a lot of stuff. You're playing a team that has been up in every game. They gave up everything.
But Phillip Rivers, he still remains to be seen. But I think Nick Foles back there, you have a better offensive team in Chicago with Foles back there than you do Trubisky, and that's just how I see it. And right now, I have Chicago beating the Colts.
That's a good one. Chicago still got a good defense. I mean, the Colts still got a good defense too. I'm going to take because Phillip Rivers, he had a season high passer rating of 125.6 last week. He became the 6th quarterback in NFL history with 400 career TD passes. Phillip Rivers is still good, and they got T.Y. Hilton in there. Remember that their defense. Remember Darius Leonard. They still got him.
Mm-hmm.
They got DeFoster Buckner and Xavier Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to Colts on this game. Like I said,
Okay.
I don't necessarily believe in Chicago.
Okay.
That's my thinking. I'm going to Colts on that
Okay.
game. The 2-1 Cardinals versus the 1-2 Panthers. I like the Cardinals in this game right here. While they lost last game, I still like their receiving core. They they really hadn't involved Larry Fitzgerald in this game in their offense as much as you'd want them to. And I think Kyler Murray, the more he gets established throughout the season, the better he's going to get. So I'm gonna take the Arizona Cardinals over. Who did I just say? Who they playing? Over the Panthers.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do believe I have yes, I have Arizona beating the Panthers in Carolina, and no Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other biggest reason too. No Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So
Arizona easily over the Panthers.
Yeah. Carolina. Remember they played. Who they play? Last week they played. Let me go back to it. Last week they played the Chargers, which the Chargers, don't really have a defense to even say anything about. Kenyon Drake for Arizona rushed for 73 yards last week. He has 4 rushing touchdowns already. DeAndre Hopkins led. He had 10 targets, 137 yards receiving. They've not gotten Larry Fitzgerald infusing in his offense, and I think they will. So I'm looking for Arizona to pull this one out pretty in a big way. It shouldn't be close. If it's close, we really got problems. All right, here's one. Here's one for the ages. The New York Giants versus the Rams, 2-1 Rams against the New York Giants. I don't see Giants winning a lot of games this year. I really don't.
Yeah, I think the Rams will handle this game easily over the Jason Garrett led.
Right, and that's the other reason why it's Jason Garrett led.
He is the OC for the Giants. So,
and he can't. Once you and you lost Saquon Barkley. You got Daniel Jones back there as a quarterback, who's a decent quarterback, but not just great. He has no receivers out there. I don't know where the defense is. So and then you have a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't see the Giants winning a lot of games this year. So I'm going the Rams on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Rams all the way.
Here you go. The 3-0 Buffalo Bills versus the 2-1 Raiders. Now the Raiders, who they played last week, they played New England, lost to New England 36-20. And the question is, was it even close? And let's see here. So New England, so the Raiders' first possession, they fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
New England got a field goal. Let's see. Yeah, first possession. No, I'm sorry. First possession, they punted. They fumbled, and then New England turned around and gave up interception. They got a field goal, so you got 3-3 in the first quarter. Second quarter, the Raiders fumbled again. New England picks it up, get a field goal, so it's 3-6. Then they punted. New England got a touchdown, so it's 3-13. Then Raiders come back and get a touchdown, 10-13. That's the end of the half. So it's 10-13 in the end of the half. Raiders drive down the field in the third quarter, misses a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
New England comes back, get a touchdown, it's 10-20. Raiders punt. New England comes back, get a touchdown again, it's 10-23. Raiders get a touchdown, it's 13-23. Then New England comes back, get another touchdown. It's 13-29. Raiders fumble, and then Raiders get a touchdown. So New England didn't capitalize on a fumble. Yeah, Raiders fumble, and New England got a touchdown to make it 13-36. And then the Raiders got a touchdown closer in the game, make it 20-36. And that was it. So the Raiders really wasn't in the game. They made a lot of looks like the Raiders made a lot of mistakes in this game. Maybe it was still high on the win from New Orleans the game before. But then you got Buffalo. Buffalo is just rolling. Buffalo is they're just rolling. The question is, New England's got to keep up with Buffalo. There ain't no choice. Because if they can't keep up with Buffalo, then Buffalo's going to wind up winning the division. And they better hope these other divisions, the teams flake out in these other divisions. On this one, I'm going to go Buffalo.
That's my pick as well. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to go Buffalo in that new stadium. And they're playing in Vegas Stadium. So, you're going to have some of the players down there gambling. The practice squad players, they'll be in the casinos gambling while the game is going on. Better hope they don't get caught up.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going Bills all the way.
Yeah. Next game we have the New England Patriots 2-1 versus the Kansas City Chiefs 3-0. Is this one of those I smell an upset?
If it was in New England, yes, but in Kansas City, no. I think the Chiefs will beat the Patriots.
Think done deal, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's in Kansas City. And again, Mahomes coming off a game at Baltimore and just flat out just annihilated the defense of the Ravens in Baltimore.
Yeah. Which
you're in
Ravens
Kansas City. Now you can't sit against New England. I don't think it'd be a struggle.
And the Ravens has the best defense in the NFL right now. Let's see something.
Right.
So their next games are the Chiefs' next game, the Patriots, the Raiders, and then Buffalo. They could possibly, go through these first 6 games 6-0. I think your only tough game here is going to be at Buffalo. But they showed Baltimore when a tough game either. So here,
the Chiefs play Buffalo this year.
Yeah, they play Buffalo the 6th game of the season.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a juicy one. Now that game, you have to get back with me on because I don't know, there's something about Buffalo. I don't know. That game might be an upset. I'm just saying, but we'll see down the road.
Yeah, depends on if Buffalo's still playing at top notch. All right, next game. I have the 2-1 Eagles versus the 49ers 2-1. We don't talk much about the Eagles, do we?
No, because there's no reason to. Carson Wentz is regressing. He has really no receivers to throw to. Dallas Goedert injured his leg. He will be out for a while. He was placed on injured reserve today. At least Wentz and Zach Ertz and really nobody else. He has Miles Sanders back there, but Carson Wentz is, I don't know.
I think
if you really go back, if really go back to the Prescott Wentz golf draft, you will one would have to think that Carson Wentz is the third best quarterback of the 3.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think Carson Wentz is in a position where he feels like he's got to do it all, and that's where he makes a lot of mistakes. When you feel like you got to be the end all be all, he's throwing interceptions now that he used to didn't throw. He's putting the ball on the ground. He's trying to duck and dodge, and he's getting sacked more times than not. They're not putting the ball in the end zone like they should. He threw 2 interceptions last week. if not more. Yeah, 2 interceptions last week. So he's. I think he feels like he's got to do it all, and when he feels like he's put in a position to do everything, then he's not. Then he makes mistakes. So having said that, I'm 49ers. Yeah, I'm going to 49ers.
I'm going to 49ers as well.
All right. The Monday night game. The Falcons, the 0-3 Falcons versus the 3-0 Packers.
There is no reason why the Packers should lose this game.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. This should be. You know how you have dress rehearsals for preseason games. This is the Packers dress rehearsal, so they can continue throwing the rest of the season. Because I don't even see if the Falcons win this game, it'll be interesting. I'm not gonna say it'll be a miracle, but man. So I'm going Packers.
Yep, Packers all the way for me.
And then the last game that we can spend some time on now is the 2-1 Browns versus the 1-2 Cowboys.
Why don't you spend time on this game?
Because
it's the Browns. It's the Browns.
It's still the Cowboys, though.
It's the Browns. Last time the Browns came to Dallas, I believe, was 4 years. No, with Tony Romo.
2012.
No, I think we went to Cleveland and beat them.
Last game. No. We went to Cleveland and beat them about 4 years ago. But the last time the Cleveland Browns came to Dallas was November the 18th, 2012. And Dallas beat them in overtime, 23-20.
That's 8 years ago. That was Tony Romo. I remember that game. He quarterbacked he was the quarterback for the Cowboys, and for whatever God-given reason, we let the Browns hang around all freaking game until the very last minute when Romo pulled the victory out, and it was so unnecessary. I was not happy with the Cowboys in that game. They had no business letting the Browns hang around. That was 8 years ago.
None whatsoever.
We beat the Browns in Cleveland. Now the Browns are back here in Dallas, and now you have Baker Mayfield versus Dak Prescott. Our defense may not look good again in this game. I'm just going to tell you right now. But I think this might be a defensive battle. Myles Garrett and Aldon Smith.
Yeah.
They may have their sacks in this game, but again, it's the Browns. I picked the Cowboys. This is my first time this year I picked the Cowboys to win this year, and it'd be this game. There should be no reason why the Cowboys lose to the Browns in Dallas.
Right?
My thing.
Yeah, and you're right. The Cowboys receivers: Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. Then you got Cedric Wilson, who came out of nowhere. You know, Elliott, although he had a bad game against the Seattle Seahawks, but I didn't understand why did they decide to start off not running the ball against Seattle. I don't understand why they just didn't start. Just start off. Let's run the ball. Let's run Elliott down their throat, and then we're gonna open up the passing game. You know, maybe they switch that up because you got Myles Garrett on the end. If you run Elliott in between the tackles, you don't have to deal with a Myles Garrett on the end. You know, then you got to because Elliott can get to the second second line. You know, so I don't see it being. It could be a juggernaut because Dallas's defense hadn't really showed me anything. If the Cowboys stop turning the ball over, then we're gonna have a real good game. If they stop turning the ball over, if they continue to turn the ball over, then it's going to be a close game. The thing with the Cowboys that they're never out. They have not been out of any game this season. This year. It's only 3 games, but they've not been out of any of them. It looked like they were, but they haven't been out of them. So I look for Dallas to win the game, and I look for Prescott to pad his stats. You know, he's the leading passer with 1,188 yards already this year. You know, and he's got 5 touchdowns. He's got 2 interceptions, which is unheard of for him at this point. He normally holds his interceptions down. On the other end, Baker Mayfield had two interceptions. No interceptions last game. Let's see how many interceptions he has total. No, you got to break the game down because it's Cowboys. Mayfield has, wow, he only have a lot of passing yards. Am I looking at this right? Yeah, Baker Mayfield does not have a lot of passing yards at all. Yeah, so this shouldn't be a hard game for the Cowboys. So I'm on the stats list. Baker Mayfield only has 564 passing yards, which is a 6.6 yards per average. He does have 5 touchdowns, but he also has 2 interceptions. So, you know, the juggernaut should be the running back, right? Nick Chubb has 292 yards rushing, and Elliott has 219.
Yeah, they only average 165 yards passing a game, which is about pretty much the bottom of the league in terms of passing yards per game, which is surprising considering the talent that they have on this roster. That's pretty surprising.
You got Jarvis Landry on one side and Odell Beckham on the other side. You would think that their passing, they'd be averaging more than 6.6 yards. He would be averaging more than 6.6 yards per pass attempt. But either the receivers are not.
I was going to say he, against the Washington football team in the opening game, he only passed for 156 yards, but threw for 2 TDs. Then against the Bengals, he threw for 219 and 2 TDs. Then against the Ravens, he threw for 189 and 1 TD. But something tells me
he's going
to outdo all 3 of those games against the Cowboys. He may end up having a 300-yard passing game against the Cowboys. That's how porous our defense is. If we don't apply pressure to Baker Mayfield, he may have a field day.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. And one of the reasons I said that is because of the quarterbacks that we have played this year, starting with I want to say who he played, the Rams this year.
Matt Ryan.
Jared Goff,
Matt Ryan.
No, Jared Goff. Let me pull this up real quick. System's not acting right here. But
what you looking
we've
for?
given up, I believe we've given.
Oh, he went off. All right, so let's see. How many yards have we given up? Let's go teams. Because he went off. So I'll figure it out. There we go, right there. Okay, you're back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry about that, but Jared Goff, we gave up 275 yards against him in the opening game, even though he didn't throw no TD passes in that game, which was shocking to me. And then when we played the Falcons, we gave up 273 yards passing and 4 TDs to Matt Ryan. And then, of course, against Russell Wilson, he threw for 315 and 5 touchdowns. So
Mhm.
by average, we've given up over 265 yards passing to the quarterback that we opposed. So it wouldn't surprise me that Baker Mayfield gets to that total or exceeds that.
Which actually is not bad though. The problem is that those touchdown passes we've given up because they're throwing them
Yeah,
deep. We can't cover deep. We've been covering inside. We just can't cover deep. If you fix the deep
right. We
passes,
gave. Mm-hmm.
you know, then if you fix the deep passes, then you're looking a lot better. Right now, we've given up too many deep passes, deep balls, and last year we wasn't giving up a lot of deep balls. But this year we are.
Now
So-
against Jared Goff, we did not give up any TD passes to him, but against Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson last 2 games, a total of 9 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm. And they were deep ball. They were deep touchdown passes.
Right.
And that's where you need to shore up. If you can shore up those deep touchdown passes that we've given up, then you may have a good inside game. But we got to take away those, and we've got to stop turning the ball over. We can stop turning the ball over and stop giving up those deep touchdown passes. Then the next phase of this Cowboy team should look a whole hell of a lot better than this first phase. Having said all that, I'm going Cowboys.
I did pick the Cowboys to beat the Browns. They should.
They should, but it should be still hot at the first month of fall, but it's not. All right, so that's it. That is all for today. Those are our picks for today. Be sure to tune in and join us next week when we rehash this last week's game. Number one, anything that surprised you this week? We talked. Do we ever talk about Gale Sayers passing away? Right?
Yes, he did pass away. Yes.
Yeah. I talked to my dad about Gale Sayers. He says one of the most elusive running backs that he's ever seen. Now, granted, I've seen highlights of Gale Sayers, but I didn't actually watch him play. So
Same
my
here.
elusive running back for me would still be a Barry Sanders.
Right. So
I've not seen
I
him.
didn't get a chance to see him play, but all I kept hearing was good things about Gale Sayers. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look at some film. I need to sit down and look at his games and that and all that good stuff.
And then Doc Rivers, we thought he
Getting
had him at
fired.
home. Huh?
I believe he got fired by the Clippers.
Yeah, he got fired by the Clippers. They had 3 other teams that were looking at him, but no one said anything yet. And I don't know if you fire Doc Rivers. Do you fire Doc Rivers, or do you try to restructure? Because the team they almost didn't look like they was gelling. I don't know. What do you do? Do you keep Doc Rivers and let's restructure the team, or what?
I thought they would have kept him, but then when I thought about the fact that they brought Kawhi Leonard in here, and then that epic collapse that they had in the playoffs, that pretty much equaled a termination of Doc Rivers. We brought Kawhi Leonard in here, and only for our team to have an epic collapse with him being on the team, and we still look like the old Clippers of the past. I think that led to his departure.
Yeah. And then who you think is going to pick him up?
The Philadelphia 76ers. That's who I think will be a good fit for him.
The 76ers? I just got a breaking news that Mark Cuban just picked up the Delonte West at a gas station.
Yes, that happened in a quick trip recently, and he's willing If Delonte West agrees to go to rehab, Mark Cuban has agreed to pay all the fees for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that might be another piece of the puzzle because the Mavericks are starting to put their pieces together now.
But Delonte West is done. He's just helping someone that needs help out. But Delonte West is nowhere. He's not coming back to the NBA.
Oh, he done deal, huh? Okay.
No, that's
Well,
done. No, he's not coming back to the NBA.
Mavericks need to put somebody with KP and Doncic, but that's too early on. They'll probably start up the NBA season in December, and so we'll talk about the NBA further on. Looks like the Lakers will probably wind up winning and get LeBron another ring so he can almost match Jordan. But I still don't count none of the stuff he's got. I count him, but I don't. Anything else you got?
No, that's it for me. It's been a great show as usual.
Yeah. All right. So, well, this has been 411 Sports Talk Radio, 411radionetwork.com. Thank you, Professor. I am the Benchwarmer, and we are out.
Let's roll.